What's up everyone, Mark here, and for some time now you've been watching me make a ton of unhealthy food in my videos. Funnily enough, last week's recipe was biscuits and gravy. The next recipe is not health food, you'll see Friday. Truth be told, most of that stuff actually gets eaten by friends and neighbors or frozen for later use. The reality is that I spent an awful long time being awfully unhealthy, and after a fair amount of effort and perseverance over the course of about a year, I actually managed to establish new and healthier eating habits which have led to a new and much healthier me. I wouldn't say it was hard, but I wouldn't say it was easy either. With the new year almost upon us, I'm sure a number of you have made some sort of health-related New Year's resolution. And I'm here to tell you that you can do it, as long as you maintain relative commitment to the result and don't hold any unrealistic expectations. Failure to commit is one of our biggest undoings, and it often lies at the feet of unreasonable expectations. It's hard to commit to something that you think isn't doing what it's supposed to. Diet and weight loss plans, by and large, create the impression that they'll do more than they will. There's a reason every time you see someone in an ad wearing their old, comically oversized pants that the fine print underneath the image says results not typical. To be honest, my personal health journey began a couple of years ago when I was referred to a nutritionist at the urging of my doctor, and with low expectations to start. It couldn't hurt, I figured, and in fact my low expectations to begin with are what I think helped me stick with it. I wasn't disappointed or frustrated by slow results because I barely expected any results. For a few years, my doctor had been telling me I was overweight, pre-diabetic, and that my blood pressure was creeping up solidly into hypertension range. At the heart of the issue for me was that I didn't want to start taking blood pressure medication. Not to knock modern medicine and the fantastic drugs we have access to today, but I didn't want to have to depend on a drug to keep me alive. What if someday, for some reason, I can't afford those pills? As is the case for many people, my nutritionist visits were covered 100% as preventative care by my insurance. This is particularly true of many employer-provided healthcare plans. Definitely check the details of your health plan and don't leave free nutrition support on the table if you have it. Before I get too much further, I want to make sure it's clear that I am not a nutritionist or any kind of expert, and everything I share here is based solely on my personal experience and research. You may think that you already know all you need to know about how to be healthy or lose weight, and that it's simply a matter of doing it if and when you want to. I'm here to tell you that it often doesn't work that way, and you can easily miss details that might otherwise be blindingly obvious. The first and most important point is that in order to lose weight, you need to take in less energy than you use. Calories in, calories out. The food we eat provides proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. The processes are complex. The carbohydrates provide our energy, and the excess protein and fat that can't be used become energy too before any of what's left gets stored as fat. Eating fat won't make you fat any more than eating protein or carbohydrates will. It's all a matter of what your body can use versus what it has left over and stores away. If you can take in fewer calories than you burn, you will lose weight. This means it's possible to change your diet and lose weight successfully without exercise. But if you do exercise, you'll either be able to eat more or lose more weight. We often think of calories specifically when we think of how good or bad something is for us. The problem with that is that the source of the calories matters. Calories from sugar, for example, are pure carbohydrates in their simplest form and go almost immediately into the bloodstream. Any energy that can't be quickly used will just as quickly be stored as fat. Calories from protein, on the other hand, don't work the same way. Your body will first use the protein for its building blocks before resorting to breaking down what's left into energy, sugars. And even then, only if that energy can't be used does it further get stored as fat. My initial goals were primarily to lower my blood pressure and lose weight, partly because I knew I'd feel better if I could lose some weight, and because I knew it wouldn't hurt my blood pressure to do so. Weight and blood pressure are very strongly correlated. Alright, so we're finally at the part where I tell you the magic of what worked for me, because I get the question all the time, and here it is. Count carbs, not calories. For about a month prior to the nutritionist visit, I was trying to eat less and include healthier foods in my diet. I tracked everything I ate in a food diary, which helped me put some numbers to what I was shoveling in my face. The numbers here are going to be kind of arbitrary and only apply to me, but the idea was to take the average number of carbs in a given meal or snack during the initial tracking and cut that in half. For me, that became a target of 45 grams of carbohydrates or fewer each time I ate something. Going over that number wasn't, nor is it now, any kind of fatal mistake. There's no such thing as ruining the rest of the day. If I go to Six Flags and have a funnel cake, then I just do better for the rest of the day. I might even go light on carbs a day or two before or after something to balance it out. In short, it's okay to have some fatty things and some carb-heavy things as long as you make them exceptions and work towards balance. No diet that forces you to avoid all carbs or all fats is going to be easy or desirable to stick with in the long run. Tracking carbohydrates alone might not seem like enough, but I can't argue with what's ended up working for me. And when you think about it, it does kind of make sense. When you lower carbohydrates, you lower everything else. As long as I keep the salt shaker in check, even my sodium intake is way down just by virtue of the much smaller amount of food I'm eating. The only other restriction I work with is that every time I eat, it includes at least some protein, even if it's just a handful of nuts or a piece of string cheese. It's important to provide the body with the protein it needs at regular intervals, even when you're otherwise not giving it extra carbs. The small amount of protein every few hours helps keep your metabolism humming along at a smooth pace. The second magic part of what's worked for me is kind of what I already talked about, having realistic expectations. Results not typical, unsurprisingly, doesn't typically happen to anyone. If you're trying to lose weight and can shed maybe 2 or 3 pounds in a month, that's no small thing. 4 or 5 pounds and you're doing fantastic. But a person's weight can actually vary by double those numbers just from day to day, depending on water retention, what you've eaten, time of day, and a number of other factors. The more often you weigh yourself and track it, the more accurate a picture you'll have of your weight loss. And the more consistent you can be, the better. Like always weighing yourself first thing in the morning when you wake up. All in all, it took me about a year to lose nearly 70 pounds. And in the process, I established a new way of thinking about food. I even still use the food diary to track what I eat and still track my weight daily. It's all just become second nature. And since there's no arguing with results, here are mine. You literally see every factor improve over the course of a year, including a complete turnaround of blood pressure and resting heart rate. And all I did here was become aware of, count, and regulate carbs. I even went so far as to measure my blood pressure 4 times a day for a year and plot the results. Watching the data scroll past in time lapse, you can actually see it improving. Many of you know I run for exercise, but I wasn't even doing that until around November or December of 2018. And I certainly never would have imagined myself a runner that prior May. In the end, I hope the information here helps you on your own personal health journey, or at least shows you that small changes can lead to big improvement as long as you can be patient. I'm interested in hearing what's worked for you. Tell me down in the comments what may have helped you lose weight, lower blood pressure, or otherwise just adopt more healthy eating habits. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, then go ahead and give it an enthusiastic thumbs down. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Just hit the red button below the video or the watermark in the corner, and when you do, be sure to hit the bell icon to get a notification every time I have a new video out. Thank you all again so much for watching. Happy 2021, and I will see you in the new year.